Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, your heart pounding like a drum in your chest, convinced that the one person you trust most in the world has just shattered everything you hold dear? That's exactly what happened to me on a rainy Tuesday evening in late autumn. I remember it so vividly, the kind of memory that clings to you like damp clothes after a storm. My name is Emily, and this is the story of how I uncovered the deepest betrayal of my life and turned it into a revenge that left everyone, including him, utterly speechless. It started innocently enough, or so I thought. Mark and I had been together for 7 years. We met in college, back when life felt like an endless adventure. He was the charming guy with the easy smile, the one who could make a crowded room feel like it was just the two of us. I was the dreamer, the one sketching ideas for stories in my notebook during lectures. We built a life together, tiny apartment in the city, weekend hikes in the hills, dreams of a family someday. But that night, as thunder rumbled outside our bedroom window, everything changed. I couldn't sleep. Mark had come home late again, smelling faintly of her perfume, something floral and expensive that wasn't mine. He mumbled excuses about a work meeting, but his phone buzzed once on the nightstand, the screen lighting up just long enough for me to catch a glimpse. A message from Jade, a name I didn't recognize. Can't wait for tomorrow. Last night was magic. My stomach twisted into knots. Who was Jade, and what magic had they shared? I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to shake him awake, demand answers right then and there. But another part, the scared, hopeful part, whispered that it was nothing. Just a colleague, a friend. Mark loved me. He said it every day, didn't he? As the rain pattered against the glass, I slipped out of bed, my bare feet cold on the hardwood floor. His phone was still there, unlocked because he trusted me. Or so I thought. My fingers trembled as I picked it up. The messages loaded slowly, each one a dagger to my heart. Photos of them together, laughing at a cozy cafe, her hand on his arm during what looked like a weekend getaway. Words that promised secrets and stolen moments. "You're my escape," he wrote to her. "Escape from what? From us? From me?" Tears blurred my vision, but I kept scrolling, piecing together months of lies. Our anniversary dinner. He'd been texting her from the restaurant bathroom. Our quiet evenings at home. She'd been waiting in a hotel lobby nearby. I don't know how long I sat there, cross-legged on the floor, the phone heavy in my lap like a stone. The betrayal hit me in waves. First shock, freezing me in place, then a burning anger that made my cheeks flush hot. How could he? After everything we'd shared, the promises we'd made. I thought of our first trip to the beach, how we'd carved our initials in the sand. Now it all felt like a cruel joke. But in that moment of raw pain, something else stirred inside me. A spark. Not just hurt, but resolve. He thought he could play me for a fool. Oh no, this wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning. By dawn, I'd made a decision. I wouldn't confront him yet, not with screams or tears. I'd be smarter than that. I'd gather the proof, build my case, and when the time was right, I'd make sure the world, his world, knew the truth. But as I slipped back into bed, feigning sleep while he stirred beside me, I wondered, how far would I go? And what would it cost me? Little did I know, the answer would change everything. Looking back, our life together seemed perfect on the surface, like one of those glossy magazine spreads about young love conquering all. Mark and I weren't just partners, we were a team. Or at least that's what I told myself every time doubt crept in. We moved to Seattle after graduation, chasing his job in tech sales and my freelance writing gigs. Our apartment overlooked the Puget Sound, with windows that caught the golden light at sunset. We'd dance in the kitchen to old jazz records, him burning toast while I laughed and salvaged dinner. Those were the days that made me believe in forever. Mark was ambitious, always climbing the ladder at his firm. Late nights at the office became our normal, but he made up for it with little gestures: a bouquet of wildflowers on my desk, surprise tickets to a comedy show. "You're my rock, Em," he'd say, pulling me close. And I believed him. I poured my heart into our home, decorating with thrift store finds and shelves of books we'd read aloud to each other. Friends envied us. "You two are goals," they'd say at barbecues. But even then, there were cracks I ignored. It started small. He'd check his phone more often, angle it away from me with a sheepish grin. "Just work emails." I'd nod, trusting because love means trust, right? Then the weekends are away for conferences. I'd spend them alone, writing stories of strong women overcoming heartbreak. Ironic, now that I think about it. Jade entered the picture subtly. I met her once at a company holiday party 6 months earlier. She was his new colleague, sharp-witted and stunning, with that effortless confidence that turns heads. They hugged a beat too long, and she lingered by his side, sharing inside jokes about clients. I brushed it off as office camaraderie. Why wouldn't I? Mark came home that night and made love to me like it was our honeymoon all over again. But as months passed, the distance grew. Our conversations are shortened to logistics, grocery lists, bill payments. Intimacy faded to tired cuddles after his long days. I started questioning myself. Was I not enough? Too focused on my writing deadlines? I even suggested couples counseling once, over coffee one morning. He laughed it off. "We're fine, babe. Just stressed. That word haunted me now, replaying in my mind as I replayed those messages. Stressed enough to seek solace in her arms. One evening, about a week after that fateful night, I decided to test the waters. We were out for date night. Italian place downtown, candles flickering on checkered tablecloths. I wore the red dress he once called his favorite, hoping to reignite the spark. "Tell me about your day," I said, leaning in, my voice soft. He glanced at his phone under the table, then smiled that charming smile. "Same old. Jade and I closed a big deal today. She's a powerhouse." My fork paused mid-air. "Jade? Again. Sounds like you two make a great team," I replied, forcing lightness into my tone. Inside, jealousy twisted like a knife. He didn't notice, or if he did, he hid it well. We talked about mundane things, vacation plans we never took, his promotion on the horizon. But as we walked home hand in hand, the city lights blurring in the drizzle, I felt the weight of unspoken truths pressing down. That night, as he slept, I lay awake again, mapping out the timeline in my head. When did it start? How deep did it go? And most importantly, how could I expose it without losing myself in the process? The next day I began digging, not dramatically, no breaking into his email or tailing him like some spy thriller. Just quiet observation. I noted the late nights, the gym sessions that left him smelling of hotel soap. I saved screenshots, timestamps, and built a digital trail. It hurt, every piece of evidence a fresh wound, but pain has a way of sharpening your focus, and mine? It honed into a plan, a clever one that would stun them both. As the days blurred into weeks, I played the part of the oblivious girlfriend. Laughed at his jokes, packed his lunches, whispered, "I love you" in the mornings. But underneath, a storm brewed. I confided in no one. Not my sister, not my best friend Sarah. This was my battle. And soon the world would see just how fiercely I could fight. Life has a funny way of testing you when you least expect it. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, the ground shifts beneath your feet. For me, Mark and those shifts started long before Jade's name lit up his screen. They were the little tremors, the ones you feel but can't quite place. Looking back, I see them everywhere, like warning signs I chose to ignore because admitting them meant admitting our perfect story was fraying at the edges. It was around our 5th anniversary when things first felt off. We'd planned a weekend in the mountains, a cabin with a fireplace and no cell service. Just us, reconnecting. But 2 days before, he cancelled. Emergency project, he said. Eyes not quite meeting mine. I understood. Work was his passion after all. So I spent the weekend alone, hiking trails meant for two, the silence echoing my growing unease. When he finally made it up on Sunday evening, apologetic with a bottle of my favourite wine, I forgave him instantly. That's what love does, right? It bends. But the bends became breaks. Arguments sparked over nothing, forgotten chores, my nagging about his hours. You're always so busy, I'd say, voice cracking with frustration. He'd sigh, run a hand through his hair. I'm doing this for us, Em, for our future. Our future. That phrase dangled like a carrot, keeping me tethered. I threw myself into my writing, crafting tales of resilient heroines who faced down their demons. If only I'd seen myself as one of them sooner. Then Jade became a fixture. Not just in messages, but in stories. Jade nailed that presentation, he'd say over dinner, pride in his voice. Jade suggested this strategy. Brilliant. I smiled through it, but each mention chipped away at me. Who was this woman invading our space? I googled her once, late at night, LinkedIn profile glowing with achievements, photos of her at galas, arm linked with industry bigwigs. Successful, single, stunning. The kind of woman who turns heads and breaks hearts without trying. One afternoon, Sarah dragged me out for lunch, sensing my mood. You look exhausted, Em. What's going on? Over salads, I spilled a sanitized version. No affair suspicions, just the drift. She nodded knowingly. Relationships ebb and flow. Talk to him. But talking felt like risking everything. What if he confirmed my fears? So I buried it deeper, letting resentment simmer. The conflict peaked one rainy evening in October. Mark came home early for once, flowers in hand. Surprise date, he announced, grinning. We ended up at a rooftop bar, city lights twinkling below. For a moment it was magic, the wine flowing, his hand warm on mine. Then his phone buzzed. He silenced it, but not before I saw the preview. Miss you already. Jay, my heart stopped. Everything okay? I asked, casual as I could manage. Yeah, just work. He lied smoothly, clinking his glass to mine. That lie was the straw. Driving home, silence thick between us, I gripped the wheel until my knuckles whitened. How many more? How long could I pretend? By the time we parked, tears stung my eyes. Mark, are we okay? The words tumbled out, raw and desperate. He pulled me into a hug. Of course, I love you. But his voice lacked conviction, and in that embrace, I smelled her perfume again, faint but unmistakable. That night, alone in the bathroom, I sobbed quietly, makeup running down my face. Anger bubbled up, hot and fierce. This wasn't just hurt, it was theft. He'd stolen our trust, our joy, but as I stared at my reflection, puffy eyes, determined jaw, I saw a glimpse of the woman I could be. Not broken, but unbreakable. The conflict wasn't just external anymore. It was a fire inside me, urging me forward, toward truth, toward justice. And so, with the rain lashing the windows once more, I began to plot. Not out of spite, but survival. Little did Mark know the foundation he'd cracked was about to crumble. On his terms. Betrayal doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It creeps in, quiet as a shadow, until one day it engulfs you whole. For me, that day came on a crisp November morning, the kind where the air bites just enough to wake your senses. I'd been collecting clues for weeks now. Screenshots, hotel receipts slipped from his wallet, even a quick drive-by of the office parking lot to see her car parked too close to his. But nothing prepared me for the full weight of it crashing down. It happened at his company's annual retreat. A weekend in the woods, team-building exercises, and bonfires. He begged me to come, said it'd be fun. Jade's going too. Great chance for you to meet everyone properly. I agreed, masking my dread with enthusiasm. Deep down, I knew this was my chance to witness the truth firsthand. We drove up Friday afternoon, the forest unfolding like a green blanket around us. Mark chatted animatedly about the agenda, oblivious to my silence. The retreat center was rustic, cabins dotted along a lake, laughter echoing from group games. That first night, over dinner in the lodge, I watched them. Jade, with her cascade of dark hair and easy laugh, sat across from him, their knees brushing under the table. Subtle, but not to my trained eye. "Emily, right? Mark's told me so much about you," she said, her smile warm but eyes appraising. "All good things, I hope," I replied, holding her gaze a second too long. Mark shifted uncomfortably, changing the subject to work. As the evening wore on, toasts were made, stories shared. But when the group dispersed for free time, I saw it, them slipping away toward the dock, silhouetted against the moonlit water. My chest tightened. I followed at a distance, heart hammering. Hiding behind a cluster of pines, I strained to hear. Their voices carried on the breeze, soft, intimate. "I wish we had more time," she whispered. "Me too," he murmured, and then silence, broken only by the gentle lap of waves. I didn't need to see more. The pieces fit. Months of stolen moments, right under my nose. Numb, I retreated to our cabin, curling up on the bed as sobs racked my body. Shock gave way to a profound sadness, the kind that hollows you out. How could the man who'd held me through my father's illness, who'd promised forever under starlit skies, do this? I thought of our shared dreams, a house with a garden, kids running through the yard. All lies. But amid the grief, anger ignited. Not wild rage, but a cold, calculated fury. He didn't just betray me, he diminished me, and I refused to stay small. The next morning I played the part, smiling through trust falls and ropes courses, even chatting with Jade over coffee. "You two seem close," I said lightly. She blushed faintly. "He's a good friend." Friend! The word tasted like ash. Mark noticed nothing amiss, too wrapped up in the facade. But by Sunday, as we packed to leave, I confronted the evidence in my mind. It wasn't enough to cry. I needed action. Driving home, windows down to let the wind whip away my tears, I voiced it aloud to the empty passenger seat. "This ends now." Mark glanced over. "What?" "Nothing," I lied. The first of my own deceptions. But inside the plan crystallized. I'd expose him, not with hysterics, but precision. I'd make sure his world, his career, his precious Jade, all unraveled in one fell swoop. The shattering wasn't just his truth coming to light. It was my rebirth. As the city lights welcomed us back, I felt the shift. No more victim. I was the architect of what came next, and oh, how sweet that justice would taste. Revenge isn't born in a flash. It's woven thread by thread, each one pulled tight with purpose. After the retreat, I threw myself into the planning with a focus I'd never known. It wasn't about destruction for its own sake. No, this was about reclaiming my power, exposing the lies, and walking away whole. I started small, mapping out their routines like a detective in one of my stories. Mark's schedule was predictable: office by 8, lunches with clients, home by 7, unless it was overtime with her. First, I needed allies without revealing too much. Sarah was my sounding board over wine-fueled girls' nights. He's distant, I confessed vaguely. Like he's hiding something. She squeezed my hand. Trust your gut, Em. You're stronger than you know. Her words fueled me. I confided more to my sister Mia during a weekend visit. If he hurts you, we'll handle it together, she said fiercely, unbeknownst to them. I was already handling it, gathering emails forwarded from his shared work account, a password he'd given me months ago in trust, noting patterns in their communications. Jade's social media was a goldmine. Subtle posts about late nights with a special someone, geotags at spots Mark and I had frequented. I screenshotted it all, building a timeline that painted their affair in stark relief. But confrontation, too messy. I wanted something elegant, public, undeniable. That's when the idea hit. Leverage his career. Mark's firm prided itself on integrity, family values, transparency. A scandal like this, it could topple him. I spent nights researching, curled up with my laptop while he slept. HR policies, whistleblower protections, anonymous tips. No graphic exposes, just facts laid bare. I drafted emails, practiced speeches in the mirror. Calm, composed, lethal. I have evidence of an inappropriate relationship, I'd say. But timing was key. His big promotion was weeks away, a gala event where executives and clients mingled. Perfect stage. Meanwhile, I maintained the home front. Cooked his favorite meals, laughed at his jokes, even initiated intimacy once, just to throw him off. You're amazing, he breathed afterward, guilt flickering in his eyes. Or was it my imagination? Either way, it bought me time. Doubt crept in during quiet moments. Was I becoming like him, weaving deceptions? But no, the difference was intent. Mine was justice, not escape. One evening as snow flurried outside, I met Jade accidentally at a coffee shop near the office. Emily! Small world, she said, startled. We chatted surface level, weather, work, but as she stirred her latte, I leaned in. Mark speaks so highly of you. You must be close. Her cheeks pinked. He's a great boss. The lie hung there. I smiled sweetly. I'm lucky to have him. Walking away, my pulse raced. The web tightened. By mid-December, the plan solidified. I'd send the evidence packet anonymously to his boss, timed for the gala eve, photos redacted for privacy. Just enough to raise flags, messages, timelines, receipts. Then, at the event, I'd be there, poised and perfect, watching it unfold. No scenes, just the quiet unraveling. As I sealed the digital envelope, a mix of fear and exhilaration washed over me. This was it, the pivot from victim to victor. But as Mark kissed my forehead that night, murmuring about our bright future, I wondered, would this break him? Or me? The answer loomed, just beyond the holiday lights twinkling in the distance. There's a stillness that settles in before a storm breaks, thick, charged, almost beautiful in its tension. That's how the weeks leading up to the gala felt for me. On the outside, everything hummed along, holiday decorations twinkling in our apartment, Mark's excitement building for his promotion speech. This is our breakthrough, Em, he'd say, eyes alight. I'd nod, heart aching with the secret I carried. Inside, I was a whirlwind, second-guessing every step, but the resolve held firm. I fine-tuned the plan during stolen moments. The evidence packet grew, now including witness statements from a bartender at their favorite lounge, a casual chat I'd had, dropping hints without accusing. Nothing invasive, just truths pieced together. I even rehearsed my own role, supportive girlfriend by day, silent observer by night. Friends notice my quiet intensity. You seem different, Mia said over Thanksgiving dinner. Stronger, I smiled enigmatically. Just growing up, Mark, bless his oblivious soul, leaned into the season. We strung lights on the tree, baked gingerbread that filled the air with cinnamon warmth. One night, as we decorated, he pulled me onto the couch, vinyl spinning carols. "Remember our first Christmas?" he asked, voice soft. How could I forget? Snowed in, making hot cocoa from scratch, whispering dreams till dawn. "I do," I replied, throat tight. In that moment, pity flickered, for the man he was, or pretended to be. But pity hardened into purpose. He didn't deserve my softness anymore. Jade hovered in the periphery. A group email about the gala mentioned her as a key contributor. I replied all with enthusiasm. "Can't wait to celebrate with everyone." Her response, a thumbs up emoji. If only she knew. As the date approached, anxiety gnawed. What if it backfired? What if he denied it all? But Sarah's pep talk sealed it. "You're not the villain here, Em. You're the truth teller." The night before, I hit send on the anonymous tip. Heart pounding, I watched the progress bar fill. Evidence of executive misconduct attached. Review before tomorrow's event. No return address, routed through a VPN for safety. Sleep evaded me, mind replaying scenarios. Dawn broke with a text from Mark. "Big day. Love you," I typed back, "proud of you." Lies upon lies, but mine served a higher good. The gala venue was opulent. Crystal chandeliers, tables draped in white, the hum of Seattle's elite. I arrived on his arm, emerald gown hugging my figure, hair swept up. Heads turned, I felt seen, powerful. Jade was there, in silver silk, laughing with colleagues. Our eyes met across the room, curious, not suspicious. Yet. Cocktails flowed, toasts rang out. Mark's boss clapped him on the back, whispers of the promotion swirling. Then the shift. I saw it in the huddle by the bar, his superior's face tightening, glancing at a phone. Mark noticed too, brow furrowing. "What's going on?" he asked, joining them. I sipped my wine, pulse steady. The calm held, but the air crackled. Jade drifted over, confusion etching her features. "Something's wrong," she murmured to a friend. As the evening crested, the reckoning loomed. Mark caught my eye across the crowd, a question in his gaze. I smiled serenely. The storm was here, and I was ready to dance in the rain. Climax isn't a single thunderclap. It's the fury that follows, lightning forking across a blackened sky. The gala unfolded like a slow-motion dream, every glance and whisper amplifying the tension until it snapped. I stood by the hors d'oeuvres table, feigning interest in a conversation about stock markets, but my senses were tuned to him. Mark, in his tailored suit, was schmoozing with potential clients, his promotion speech slotted for after dessert, unaware that the noose I'd crafted was tightening around his neck. It started subtly. His boss, Mr. Hargrove, a stern man with a reputation for zero tolerance, pulled him aside near the podium. Their heads bent close, Hargrove's face a mask of controlled displeasure. I watched from afar, heart thumping a rhythm of vindication and nerves. Jade hovered nearby, drawn like a moth to the flame, her silver dress catching the light. She touched Mark's arm lightly. "Everything okay?" He nodded curtly, but his eyes darted, searching for escape. Then the ripple spread. Whispers snaked through the crowd. "Did you hear? Anonymous tip about an affair. Involving Ellis and that new hire." Phones emerged, and discreet checks of emails. I excused myself from my chat, gliding toward a quieter corner, champagne flute in hand. The air hummed with scandal, delicious and sharp. Mark caught my gaze then, weaving through suits toward me. Have you seen Hargrove?" "Something's up." I tilted my head, innocent. "No, why?" "You look worried." His laugh was forced, just pre-speech jitters. "Hey, you okay? You seem distant." Distant. The irony burned. Before I could respond, Jade approached, her composure cracking. "Mark, we need to talk. Now?" Her voice was low, urgent. He hesitated, glancing at me. "Go ahead," I said softly. "I'll be fine." They slipped into an alcove, voices rising in hushed fury. I didn't eavesdrop. Not needed. I'd scripted this. Moments later, Hargrove's voice boomed over the mic. "Ladies and gentlemen, a change in program. Mr. Ellis's speech is postponed. We have matters to address." Gasps rippled. Eyes turned to Mark, emerging pale-faced from the alcove, Jade trailing like a ghost. The confrontation erupted in the hallway, away from the main hall, but not private enough. I followed at a distance, blending with curious onlookers. "Explain this." Hargrove thrust his phone forward, screenshots glaring. Mark stammered. "It's not what it looks like," Jade interjected. "We were just friends." But the timeline betrayed them. Messages timestamped during work hours, hotel bookings on company dime. "You've compromised this firm," Hargrove thundered, voice echoing off marble walls. "Ethics violation. Suspension pending investigation." Mark's face crumpled. Shock, denial, desperation. "Please, sir, my future." "Your future? What about the trust you've broken?" Jade teared up, backing away. "I didn't think—" Our eyes met then, hers widening in realization. "You," she whispered. "But how?" The anonymous veil held. Security escorted them out, discreetly, but the damage was done. The gala buzzed with gossip, toasts forgotten. I lingered, accepting condolences from acquaintances. "Such a shame," one said. "You must be devastated?" "Devastated? No, liberated." As the night wound down, Mark texted, "Need to talk." "Where are you?" I replied, heading home. "See you there." The drive back was euphoric, city streets slick with rain, wipers slashing like victory strokes. I'd done it, exposed the truth without a single raised voice from me. But as our apartment lights came into view, a pang hit, relief laced with sorrow. The storm had broken him. Now the cleanup began. Resolution doesn't come tidy, wrapped in a bow. It's messy, echoing with aftershocks that reshape the landscape. The morning after the gala, our apartment felt like a crime scene, silent, charged with unspoken accusations. Mark stumbled in at dawn, tie askew, eyes bloodshot. I was in the kitchen, brewing coffee as if it were any Sunday. "Em," he croaked, collapsing into a chair. "It's over. Everything." I poured him a mug, black, just how he liked. "What happened?" Playing dumb, though my heart raced. He spilled it all. The tip, the evidence, Hargrove's ultimatum, resign or face firing. Jade had vanished into the night, texts unanswered. "How did they find out?" he pleaded, searching my face. I met his gaze steadily. "Karma, maybe. Lies have a way of surfacing." His denial cracked then. "It was a mistake. She meant nothing. You're everything." Tears streaked his cheeks, but I felt detached, like watching a scene from afar. "Was it?" I asked softly. "All those nights, Mark. The escapes." I knew. The confession hung there, his shock mirroring mine from months ago. "How long?" "Since the retreat. Maybe before. We talked, or rather, he begged, I listened. For hours. Pleas for forgiveness. Promises to change. Therapy, transparency. A clean slate. Part of me ached for the boy I'd loved, the dreams we'd shared. But the woman I'd become saw clearly. Trust, once shattered, leaves shards too sharp to reassemble. "I need time," I said finally, voice even. Alone. He moved out that week, to a friend's couch, then a sublet. The firm parted ways amicably, a non-disclosure sealing his exit. Jade. Rumours swirled. She transferred departments head down. I heard nothing directly. Our worlds diverged like forked roads. Friends rallied, Sarah with takeout and tears, Mia with fierce hugs. "You deserve better," they chorused, and slowly I started to believe it. The apartment echoed at first, ghosts in every corner. His forgotten sweater in the closet, our joint photos on the fridge. I packed them away, not in anger but in release. Writing became my salve, pouring the pain into stories that healed as they formed. Freelance offers trickled in, my voice stronger, truer. Holidays passed in a blur of family warmth, no mark-shaped hole anymore. Months later, a letter arrived, his handwriting tentative. "I'm sorry, truly. I lost the best thing in my life." I read it once, then filed it with the rest. No response needed. The fallout had settled. I stood taller in its dust. But closure, it came unexpectedly, over coffee with Sarah one spring afternoon. "You look radiant," she said, and I felt it, the lightness of a heart unburdened. I turned betrayal into breakthrough, lies into liberation. Mark's stunned silence at the end. Not from my words, but my silence. My choice to walk away, head high. Healing isn't linear, it's a tapestry rewoven from frayed edges, brighter for the mending. As winter thawed into spring, I stepped into this new chapter with tentative steps, each one grounding me further. The apartment, once a shrine to us, transformed. Walls repainted soft blue, shelves lined with my manuscripts, plants trailing from windows like green hope. I hosted dinners, laughter-filling rooms that had known too much quiet. Professionally, doors swung open. An editor discovered my blog posts about resilience. Anonymous at first, veiled tales of my ordeal. "Your voice cuts deep," she emailed. "Raw, real. Let's publish." My first book deal followed. A memoir disguised as fiction, Shadows of Trust. Writing it was cathartic, reliving the pain to exercise it, ending with empowerment. Signings drew crowds, women sharing their stories in hushed tones. "You gave me courage," one said. In those moments, the revenge felt complete, not just against him, but for all of us who'd been dimmed. Personally, connections bloomed. Sarah introduced me to her brother, Alex, a quiet artist with kind eyes and no games. Our first coffee stretched to hours, talking dreams and fears. No rush, no pressure, just presence. Mia planned a girls' trip to the coast, waves crashing as we roasted marshmallows and swapped secrets. "You're glowing," she teased. And I was inside out. Mark crossed my path once at a mutual friend's wedding, leaner, humbler with a new job in marketing. He approached hesitantly. You look incredible." I nodded graciously. "Thank you. I'm happy. No venom, just truth." He lingered, words tumbling, regrets, therapy breakthroughs. "I get it now. What I lost." I smiled faintly. "I'm glad. Take care." Walking away, no backward glance. The stun wasn't in confrontation. It was in my peace. Doubts lingered in quiet nights. Had I been too harsh? Too clever? But reflection brought clarity. Mercy without accountability enables more hurt. My plan exposed not just him, but the fragility of facades. Jade faded into irrelevance, a footnote in his lesson. As summer warmed, I hiked those old trails alone, then with Alex, breathing freer, seeing clearer. The betrayal, a scar, not a chain. It taught me love isn't blind trust, it's chosen vulnerability. And revenge, not destruction, but reclamation. Every story circles back to its heart, the why behind the what. Mine? It's a whisper to anyone listening. Betrayal doesn't define you, your response does. As I sit here now, a year past the storm, penning these final lines, I see the arc clear. From shattered trust to stunned silence, it was never about payback alone. It was about rising, whole and wiser. The moral isn't vengeance as victory, it's justice as freedom. Mark's affair stripped illusions, but my clever unveiling restored my agency. I didn't shut him down out of hate. I exposed the truth to breathe again. And in that breath, growth, stronger boundaries, deeper self-love, connections that honor rather than hollow. If you're watching this, heart heavy from your own shadows, hear this: you're not broken. You're being forged. Gather your proof, weave your web, but above all, choose you. The world needs your light, undimmed. Let their secrets stun them. Let your truth set you free. Thank you for joining my journey. If this story hit home, give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment with your thoughts or your own story. I read every one. Hit subscribe for more real tales of betrayal, revenge, and rising stronger. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. See you in the next one. Stay fierce.